Alright, so welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be comparing some wood camping stoves, 4 different models that I've been able to use in the last couple of years, and I thought it would be interesting to put together in one place how these guys all work. So I'm going to be comparing 3 models of Lixada, which are all knockoffs of so-called name brands, and I'm also comparing a BioLite in the mix, and I'm going to run them all 4 in parallel using 3 different kinds of fuel, and we'll see how they behave. I was originally going to do it all as one video, but it's too long, so I'm going to slice it up. First video is going to be an intro with just a sort of aesthetic capture of wood pellets burning in the 4 stoves. The second video is going to be a burn using pine cones, seeing how long it takes to boil half a liter of water, and then see who burns the longest. Next video is going to be same kind of thing, but using just scavenged twigs and bits of wood. And then the final one's going to be done using half a liter of wood pellets as the fuel. So, let's get this show started. Toot. So the point of what I'm trying to show today is just to compare a number of different stoves and see how they work. I'm only going to be comparing 4 models today, the ones on the right. And the guy on the far left is my oldest thing. It's a Coleman that I got on eBay a few years ago. And it's what I used to use for camping before I found these wood gas stoves and got so keen on them. So I've got 3 different models of Lixada stove here in the black bags, and then a friend loaned me his BioLite, which is the one on the right, and I'm going to run them in parallel using 3 different fuels. So I'm going to do 3 different runs, and roughly 500 mils of fuel in each run in each stove, and 500 mils of water on top to soak up the heat, and I'll keep track of the temperature of the water more or less even intervals, and we'll just see roughly which one gets hotter the fastest and which one burns the longest using the same amount of fuel. Alrighty, so this is what these guys all look like when they're more or less set up and ready to go. You can tell the one on the left I've not actually used yet. It's the most recent one I bought. I'm actually going to give away to a friend who I borrowed the BioLite from. And this guy in the middle is basically a knockoff of a Silver Scout, I believe it's called, and that's one that I've been using for about a year for camping trips now. It works nicely. I find it is a little harder to feed wood in when there's a pot on top because there's really no access, so it's a little more fuss if you want to feed it for longer. It works great with wood pellets though, and it seems to burn at a more modest heat for a slightly longer time, I find. This guy is one that I've used for 2 years worth of camping now, and it's got a really large access hole on the side here, so it's really easy to feed the wood in, and I've had it going for as long as 2 hours. If I'm doing like a long lazy breakfast kind of cooking, it will manage to do that, and it won't fill up too quickly with the coals and the ashes in the bottom. I find that this guy does tend to fill up if you use it for about an hour. Then that's as much runtime as you're going to get unless you stop it and you dump it out and then you just start over. And I don't have any exact experience with this guy yet, so that's part of what I'm going to figure out today. I'm guessing he's going to be somewhere in between the other 2 because it's got good access, it's got the same kind of build as the middle guy, so it should give hopefully a pretty good burn, and I'm guessing that it will still fill up with ash and coal a little bit since it doesn't have such a long top area like the guy on the far right. And the BioLite, I've only been camping on a couple of trips now where this has been along. It kind of burns stuff in a different way, and it's more of a blast furnace style burn, so it doesn't have any natural air coming in from the outside. There's no, these 3 are all about air being sucked in the bottom, and then gasification in theory, and then flame being released from the holes along the top. And it's all passive, self-driven, whereas this guy is very much, this orange module on the side has a fan in it with a battery, and this magical snout here on the top can generate electricity to charge the battery. And then it's got a hole, you can't really see it down there, but anyway, it's right in here, and it's blowing air in there, and that swirls around and makes an awesome little blast furnace effect. So the BioLite burns really hot when it's going. It's quite sensitive about wet fuel, and I think it does fill up if you try to run it for more than an hour. So it's not really designed for that kind of use, I think. So really, I'm quite happy actually to use 2 stoves when I'm on a camping trip is my sort of baseline now. I use these when I go canoe camping, and these are my 2 models that I'm using regularly. It's really handy having 2 burners when you're cooking on a camping trip, because you know, you're not constrained to just doing one thing and then taking the pot off and setting it aside and doing your other thing. In the old days when I used to use my Coleman, you know, that was the one and only burner I would have on a camping trip. So, you know, you boil the water, then you'd set it aside, then maybe you'd heat something for your pasta sauce, then you'd set it aside, then you'd reboil the water, you'd cook your noodles, you'd put it all together, or you just do one pot cooking, which is fine. But it's really awesome. I mean, these Luxada stoves are so modestly priced that it's really a trivial cost, and they're lightweight enough that it's no big deal to bring 2 of them with you. And if you're burning wood pellets, the weight of the fuel isn't so heavy that it's a bother, and it's very dose dependent. You know, if you only need to light up 1, you just light up 1, and if you want to have 2, you run 2. You can supplement your fuel from scavenged stuff if it's easily available and it's dry and it's decent, and if there's nothing that's good available, you just use your wood pellets that you brought with you, and they work really well. Just a couple of other comments, which I'll put, I guess, at the end of the video, so I'm going to pause for now. One more quick comment. I'm just going to do a quick test burn with all 4 stoves in parallel, just with 1 cup of wood pellet fuel, and I'll record the video of those guys running. We'll see how long they run. I'm not going to try to capture any temperatures or anything. It's just going to be a gosh wow they're burning kind of thing, and on the YouTube I'll have the video go quick just so it doesn't take quite as long. But an important thing to mention is that I'm going to run all 4 stoves in what I call top loading lit style. So that means putting the fuel in, putting your ignition on top, and letting them burn from the top down. So none of this foolishness with you know, trying to put something in the bottom like tinder and lighting that and building the fire up. Once you've done the top lit, you'll never go back. I found the most awesome ignition is super easy, and this is documented in tons of other YouTubes. You just take good old cotton balls, buy them at Dollarama or whatever, and a thing of Vaseline and a Ziploc, and you put in maybe 20 cotton balls in your Ziploc and a couple of spoonfuls of Vaseline, and schluck around until it's all soaked up as much as easily possible in cotton balls. And then when it's time to light up your stove, you put your fuel in however much you want, depending on how long a burn you need. And you put the cotton ball on top, you tease it apart a bit so that there's some fibers easily exposed. And then you light the fibers, and it will burn like a miniature candle. It'll burn like mad, and it'll get your fire going in no trouble. And it works great. You can't get it wet. Even if the weather's gross, it'll work really well. And it's just important to tease apart some fibers, because if it's just a lump, then it doesn't burn so well. But if you pull it apart a bit, then it practically explodes on you. It's fantastic. So, alrighty. So for this test burn, I'm just going to run the 4 stoves in parallel using 1 cup of wood pellet fuel in each, and lighting them with a Vaseline-soaked cotton ball. And we'll see how long they run, and I'll just do a few close-ups here and there to compare how they look. Super exciting. Here we go. this one will start a bit light better. A little more accessible. Okay, so they're all lit now. I'm going to start the timer and let her go. And let's just have a little look up a bit closer. So the BioLite has a nice swirl going already. The Silver Scout clone getting well engaged. This guy's doing fine. Same kind of deal here. So, yeah, they're all now what I would call burning. None of them are really going full barrel yet though. So it's going to be a couple of minutes before they're really throwing much heat. Anyway, I'm just going to put this thing back and we'll leave it so I can do some fast forward and another close up in a few minutes. We got lots of nice gasifying flames on him, which is good. And then he's also quite nicely engaged. But I'd say so far our best burn is on the Silver Scout clone, at least in terms of getting engaged and into what I would call the full gasification style burn. But really, they're all doing pretty good now. So, you know, you could cook on all of these at this point. I think they were all a little bit of a slow start based on my slightly cavalier lighting method, which I was just using for the video here. Normally I'd give it slightly more attention. But the fact that you can just light it and walk away and they go, it's kind of nice. So yeah, we got some good burn here. We're at 9 minutes, 45 seconds. I'm just gonna park the camera and ignore it for another few minutes. Actually, I'm just gonna take a look now at 10 seconds after 10 minutes. We're now seeing a nice swirly kind of thing going in the BioLite. So he's really doing his blast furnace style burn at this point. And it will get a little bit better than that, but this is more or less full tilt for him. Although we're really running all of these things with a minimal load of wood. So none of them are doing perfectly normal, but they're all pretty darn close to perfectly normal. And we got a great flames coming here. Great flames really on all of them. So yay. Anyway, I'll just put her down and we'll run it and fast forward for a while. So it seems my camera decided to turn itself off in order to cool down. So yay. I don't think it's that close to the flames, but anyway. So I'm going to do a little bit of pause on the video, and because I can, I'm just going to take note that the BioLite is now even better. We're getting more flames out of the upper holes. So it's really doing a nice job there. And really all of them are doing great. You can see this guy's starting to burn down now. The embers are visibly near the bottom. BioLite still has a nice ember bed going. He's going to be running for a while. He's also got quite a bit of fuel left. Okay, so we're at 24 minutes roughly, and things are really slowing down. BioLite is into what I would call endgame embers. The Solar Scout clone is even lower. This guy is also all done up, just kind of putting out some nice heat from the embers. And this guy's long gone. So we're basically at endgame here at 25 minutes. I'll just check back a little bit more in a few minutes. Okay, 26 minutes in, BioLite is looking, he's gently tapering off. Pretty much the same deal for all these guys. Yeehaw. I'll just stand like this for a minute, because hey. It's worth mentioning at this point maybe that the 3 stoves that are still with lots of embers, you could restoke them at this point, but if you let them go much further than this, you're pretty much done. And if you're restoking from this level of burn down, you have to be pretty gradual about it, otherwise you kind of extinguish it. So ideally, if you want to feed it to have a longer burn, you have to either start with more wood, or you add the wood maybe halfway through the burn instead of in the last quarter. That way you can add the wood gradually, which is what will work best, which is why it's a pain in the butt for something like the Solar Scout style, because it's hard to incrementally add wood when you've got a pot on top and you have very little clearance. Basically the same issue with the BioLite as well. Anyway, lots of lovely embers. Good for making toast. Stop time here is just under 28 minutes.